Live and recording on a Saturday in Minneapolis, which means the kids aren't in school, so we're going to be dodging kids saying slurs, because that's what happens on the weekend, apparently. What's the news today? Tulsi Gabbard is out? I don't think it's big news. I think her husband is sick, so, I mean, unless she's lying to escape the regime before it gets too unpopular, I don't think so. I don't think that that's the path she would take. I assume this is just kind of a non-story. It'll be interesting, of course, to see who replaces her, but I don't think it's a big story that she's resigning because her husband has cancer. That's, This is the Oskar Quentin show where I debate politics on TikTok Live. People can call in directly, members of the public. I wonder if any of the people from Instagram who say they're going to destroy me if they call in have been calling in. I don't even know, because it goes so often. They're like, dude, let me in there, I'll destroy you. And then I'm like, 10 to 12 Central Standard Time on TikTok Live, link tree in the bio, like hit it up and you can come call. And they're like, oh man, I don't like TikTok. And it's like, okay, neither do I. I made a TikTok account just to do this. You can delete your account after if you want to call in and talk, but sorry, we got to have some kind of platform. So yes, we need to follow some free speech rules that I don't like, because we don't have free speech on TikTok. It's private. Pardon me for not finishing my smoothie necessarily before I got recording. I don't always. Yeah, it's ruining America. You want America to just be illegals coming so citizens can pay for them. Jacob, why don't you hit the request button? It's like down here. It's this like pink and blue head next to the comment thing. If you click on that, you and I can have a conversation about that. Did he actually? I don't have my glasses on. I can't see if that's him. There we go. Oh, wow, it worked. That was fast. Let's see what he has to say about that. How old are you?
Yo, what's up, dude? How's it going? I'm about to get into a Valorant game. How's it going?
Doing all right. How old are you?
27. How old are you?
30.
Nice.
Okay. What do you think about illegals? You're accusing me of some kind of belief I don't think I have.
Well, that's just what the Democrats support. So if you're saying you're against MAGA,
just to be clear, what is it that the Democrats support?
The illegals coming in and all the citizens paying.
Which Democrats support illegals coming in?
Joe Biden's Democrats, the ones that voted for him.
I don't think that that's true at all.
Okay, well, the MAGA Republicans don't support illegals coming in, and we don't want to pay our taxes for them.
Okay, they don't use our taxes. They pay into our tax system.
Oh,
but they
really? Really? Then
minimally, yeah. They pay.
We're literally paying these people the rest of their life, and we're funding their families.
Whoa, we're moving on to lots of stuff. I don't know what you're talking about.
Take all of this EBT money. They're
illegal immigrants are not eligible
off of my parents' taxpayer.
Illegal immigrants are not eligible for SNAP benefits.
That's not how that works. No way.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
I don't think this is a serious call. I think you're just like calling in to have fun and mess
really?
with me.
You don't think I'm serious? How fucking... Excuse my language.
You can say fuck on my show. This is a show for adults. But what you can't say is that illegal immigrants are eligible for SNAP benefits because they're not.
Oh, okay, well, I can guarantee you that people are coming in and we're paying for them to live here the rest of their life. To have tons of kids.
You just repeated that, but are we not going to move past this thing about how they're not eligible for the programs
that do it? I know people that do it. They moved in and they are receiving government benefits.
I don't believe you, because how do you get
my roommate's family? How
do you get government benefits without a social security number?
You just apply. I don't know.
You need a social security number to apply. Like, this is a big scandal. It sounds like you've detected some fraud.
There's people who come in illegally and do illegal stuff like that.
Okay, but you're not right about that. You need to show me evidence that anybody who is an illegal immigrant is getting electronic benefit transactions, SNAP benefits. It's not. No, they're not eligible for the program. They can't apply. They don't have a social security. They need to steal somebody's identity.
Okay, so you don't think that's happening, what I'm saying, right?
If an illegal immigrant steals somebody's identity, that would allow them to do it. But that's a pretty difficult thing to do.
You don't think people are coming in the country and just, eating off the system and eating all the taxes. You don't think that's happening, right?
No, I think that illegal immigrants pay far more in taxes than they receive in benefits from the government, by a lot, because they're not eligible for almost every welfare program that the government has. It's not crazy. It's a matter of fact. You can call it crazy.
You think that people are coming in and they're not just taking from us and voting to take more from us. It's crazy.
How are they? They can't vote either.
Oh my gosh, dude. You got to watch the news, dude.
What news are you watching? Who's telling you that?
The news, dude. A bunch of fake votes, a bunch of stolen election stuff.
Watch the misinformation. You're going to get a flag from TikTok. That's not even my policy.
How is that misinformation?
Suggesting that illegal immigrants are voting is misinformation.
I'm pretty sure that there are tons of people fighting for that, and they're trying to like let that happen.
No, that's made up.
Oh, really? Then what is AOC fighting for? What has she been saying since the beginning of her thing? Illegals should come in. Illegals should come in. That's what she fights for.
You're just kind of like repeating the same talking points. You're not actually addressing a word I'm saying. Why did you call in?
Because I think it's ridiculous, dude.
I think you're being ridiculous. You can't back up your claims at all. It's trust me, bro. Illegal immigrants are using benefits. Like, that's made up, dude. It's not true. They can't vote. They can't get SNAP benefits. They don't get Medicare. They don't get Social Security, but they pay into those programs because they work and pay taxes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do, dude.
Why are you so pretty sure about that? Who told you that? That's not true. You can Google it.
I've seen what's going on.
Seen what's going on? What, you look outside the street, you see a Mexican guy, you're like, that guy surely is stealing taxpayer money? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm on Social Security right now for bipolar disorder, right?
Okay.
I don't believe in.
You should be thankful that there are. You should be thankful that there are so many illegal immigrants who are paying. You're gonna try to
force me to feel things now, dude. I'm trying to explain.
I'm going to suggest that you should be thankful that there are so many illegal immigrants paying into a system that you use without benefiting from it, because they're not eligible for the sorts of benefits that you're receiving.
They don't have Social Security and they can't pay into it, correct?
They can pay into it with a tax ID number, which they can get. The IRS literally allows them to pay taxes. You're wrong about that. You don't need a Social Security number to pay taxes. You need a tax ID number, which they do have. You can't get SNAP benefits with a tax ID number, though.
All right. So, yeah, I don't think it's okay for illegals to come in here. Dude, because how are they going to feed themselves, bro? We end up feeding them.
No, you're just asserting that over and over and over again, but they are ineligible for those programs.
What's the first thing that happens when they come in? They get taken by us. It's so ridiculous. And then they get put into like this shelter, and then we feed them.
Everybody watching is a Trump supporter. This is somebody who has no idea what they're talking about, does not know the law, does not know how these systems work, benefits from the systems. You take for granted the systems that you literally just admitted you benefit from because you don't even understand them, and you're mad at a group of people who are making those systems that you are benefiting from more wealthy.
Okay, bud,
like it's I just know what's happening in the country and you don't, and that's embarrassing. I think unless you can make an argument other than trust me, bro, I'm going to move on because the request queue is pretty full.
Lots of fraud going on, bro.
We weren't talking about fraud. We were talking about benefits.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Okay, but unless you have an argument other than trust me, bro, I'm going to move on.
Okay, well, all the taxes that go to these new immigrants, it's coming straight out of our pockets, so...
But the illegal immigrants pay into the taxes more than they use them. Oh, you're getting removed for what? TikTok flagged you. TikTok flagged him for something. I didn't even read the message. I just clicked it. He's gone. We're going to move on to Gabe. See how old Gabe is. Goodbye, Gabe. We're going to talk to Ogle. Request canceled. Okay, we're going to talk to Jay Geekman. I think I've spoken to him before. I don't remember which one he is, though. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 19. I don't have nothing to say. I just want to say hi. Love your show.
Appreciate you. You have a good Saturday. Old Crow. We're going to talk to Old Crow, see how old he is.
62.
How old are you? 62. Trump supporter?
I tolerate him.
Okay, yeah. Whenever we start the call with, I always feel like maybe you've got some things that you voted for him on, and then maybe he's doing some things that you don't like.
Some stuff didn't work, some stuff did.
Can we just really quick, what are the things that you're not happy with Trump doing?
Well, I'm not happy with Iran. I mean, look, dude, I mean, you know, hey, damn, you're screwing yourself because you're raising gas prices, which are raising diesel prices, which is raising prices, in which you said that you were going to lower all prices. Not a great way to do it. And then, you know,
okay, so it sounds like you're pretty reasonable about Iran. Why do you think he should stay president, though?
Well, because he's elected. I don't see any impeachable offenses that he's done.
He has done dozens of impeachable offenses.
What? Right now? What? Okay, name them.
You want me to start with one? Because I can't. I mean, I don't know how.
What's the one? Okay, what's the one?
I'll pick one, which is that he recently filed an executive order that changed the rules for mail-in voting. It's very clear in the Constitution that the rules for elections are left to Congress and to the states, not the president. Very specifically, not the president.
Well, then that executive order is not going to be upheld anyway.
Okay, but
it's not. And they voted in Congress. They voted in Congress that voting bill. It was approved.
Okay, that's a different matter. We're talking about the fact that he's filing executive orders that overreach of his power.
I mean, I've seen presidents file executive orders that don't even come into fruition.
Okay, how about the fact that he's... All right, dude, you gotta... This isn't a conversation. Dude, shut up and listen. Hey, excuse me, sir. Do you think that this is a functional conversation that people want to listen to, that we're having right now?
Okay, anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Answer that question. Do you think that you're behaving in this conversation in a way that people are going to want to listen to?
Could we move on from that?
No, we're not going to move on. I want you to answer that question. Do you think this is a conversation that people are going to want to listen to, given how you're behaving in it?
Oh, okay.
That is the purpose, right? We want people to hear our beliefs?
Yes.
Okay, so answer the question. Do you think
I'm calm, but you start over-talking me?
You haven't answered my question, and my question is about you over-talking me. The question is, do you think that so far in this call you have behaved in a way that people are going to want to listen to what you have to say?
Then I'm just going to hang up. Bye.
You can hang up if you don't want to answer my question. Okay, he ran. We're going to talk to Vlad. Let's see if Vlad has manners. Vlad, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Is this a bit?
No, this ain't no bit.
What year were you born in?
2001.
Yeah, he thought too hard about it. I don't believe that person was not doing that accent for the show. Forgive me if that's ableist or something. Mikalel, maybe tell me how old you are and then how to pronounce your name. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay, what year were you born in?
2008.
I'm gonna believe you for now. You support Trump?
Yes, I support Trump.
And how do you pronounce your name? I don't believe I've seen this name before.
Mike.
Mike Lell. Gotcha. Okay, Mike. Why do you support Trump?
Because he is in line with my beliefs of neo-libertarian phalangism.
Have I spoken to you before on a different account?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I just had a neo-libertarian.
Yeah, it's a new movement. Okay. It's an up and comer. I'm a little hesitant to spend my time on another libertarian because I have spent so much time over the last couple of weeks talking to libertarians. No, I'm not just libertarian. I'm a neo-libertarian phalangist.
Okay, why don't you explain for my audience how that differs? Because I actually had to look it up myself. The phalangist part was that's like the Spanish flavor of libertarian rule or something from like the mid 20th century. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's libertarianism, but with phalangist ideology, but not fully phalangist, because it's neo. So it took the authoritarian parts out of phalangism to become neo-libertarian phalangism.
Okay, what do you want for America?
For everyone to be for the government to be neo-libertarian phalangist, because
what would that do for the everyday average American?
Well, it's the most progressive ideology out of basically all ideologies, since it wants tung 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 saho.
I just kicked him. It's just whether or not he thinks he's being serious doesn't really matter. It's just a waste of time. AT_adventures is going to be our next caller. Maybe what are we, like 6 callers in and nobody's had like an actual discussion? Saturdays are wild, man. It is Saturday, right? Such a blur time when you're running the show. How old are you?
31, man.
You support Trump?
I voted for him.
Do you want him to be impeached?
Impeached? No, I don't think that's going to... I don't think you guys have the votes to be able to remove him.
That's not what I asked. I asked if you want him to be impeached. No, I don't want him to be impeached. Okay, then I'm going to say that makes you a supporter. Why do you support Trump?
Better economic policy than Harris.
Why is the economy tanking then?
Well, I think it's not doing well because of Iran, which I disagree with him on Iran.
It was not doing bad. It was not doing well before the war started. All of the economic indicators, other than the stock market, which only affect the well-being of people who have healthy retirements and wealthy people, which that's the problem. It's wealthy people who are doing well right now. Everybody else is suffering. The jobs report's terrible. There's been more manufacturing bankruptcies last year since like 20 years ago, if we ignore the couple of like recession moments that we've had because of some economic turmoil, like the 2008 recession and the pandemic and stuff. So like, no, the actual economic indicators that show what life is like for the average American, terrible. It's doing horrible. What are you talking about?
So is your claim that the economic indicators were doing well previously to when Trump was in office?
Biden's term was difficult
Or
to
they were
study.
doing better?
Yeah, they were. We were on a really impressive upswing. If you compare America to like other countries in the world that had a bunch of economic strife because of the pandemic, we were very rapidly saving ourselves from some of the consequences of things we did to survive during the pandemic, like handing out stimulus checks, which necessarily increases inflation and stuff like that.
Give me one of those economic indicators.
Jobs report. Jobs reports.
Perfect. So the jobs report, what was the biggest sector of growth for the jobs report under the Biden administration?
I assume that because I don't because I assume I'm going to assume that because I don't know the answer to that question off the top of my head, you're going to declare a win in this debate.
No, that's not a win. I'm just asking you. What do you?
I don't know which sector. I don't happen to know which sector was performing the best in 2024. Don't off the top of my head.
Okay, what was the biggest? Okay, so if I take a look at, you're saying his GDP did well. If I take a look at Biden's GDP, that was like 5.1% in Q3 of 2024, and then started declining. What was the main? If you look at the economic formula, what was the main driver of the GDP?
Why did you ask me that question about the sector? I told you I didn't know the answer, and then you moved on. Why did you bring it up? What is this? What are we talking about?
Because they're relevant. They coincide with each other.
Okay, you asked a question. I said I didn't know the answer.
I think that you're saying that the. Yep.
What?
I'm giving you another metric because these two answers are related. I'm asking you, what was the biggest driver? If I take a look at the economic formula for GDP, what was the biggest factor in that formula that drove GDP to be positive under the Biden administration? Because you're saying that the United States overall did substantially better than the rest of the world, which is accurate. That's true.
Not what I said.
But I think that
you exaggerated what I said. I said that we performed well. I said that we performed better compared to a lot of countries. I didn't say that we did the best. If you look at the countries that did the best, they're actually countries that were able to accomplish even more of the sorts of economic policies that Biden. You're not letting me talk. You're yapping. You're a fast talker. You know what you came here to say. That's fine. I can relate, but you gotta let me get my points out if they're longer than one sentence. Even though I interrupt, even though I cut people off, even though I guide the conversation, even though I have to moderate, when you're in the middle of a point, I do let you finish it. That's the difference. So just exercise some better manners if you want to stay on the show, because people don't like watching if the conversation is not functional. They can't follow it.
Well, you haven't answered a single one of my questions yet, man. And your cortisol's spiking a little bit. So, if you want to continue engaging this conversation, I'd love to engage it, but you haven't answered a single one of my questions yet. And you're
a prerequisite for me participating in the conversation is you have
economic numbers, but you have no context, and you keep cutting me off. There we go.
I don't know, man. The audience can judge. What are you trying to explain to me? Take the floor. Make your case. My cat currently has more of my attention than you do. Try harder. All right, I'm going to move on.
I completely cut out there, man. Sorry.
Oh, well, whether or not that's true, I don't think that call was going anywhere. We're going to talk to Fat to Fit 55, who maybe went from fat to fit. I'll congratulate him if he did. That's great. Good for him. That's the case.
I was coming up to even help that guy. He was going nowhere, and it was getting very frustrated. And then you finally given up, and then now he's gonna come back. Dude, it never changes, and it's just getting worse and worse, and it's just infuriating, bro. I'm too old for this shit. I'm 56. I'm 56. Too old, and this country is going to hell right now. And now we have the data centers on top of everything else. On top of everything else, we have the data centers.
Excuse me.
Which is a nightmare.
Excuse me, sir.
A nightmare. And I'm in Utah, by the way.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Do you support Trump?
Fuck no. So you can drop me.
Saturdays, man. We're going to talk to Darren Bobber de la Roux. Maybe he knows how to have a conversation. So far, that's 0 people who know how to have a conversation today, right? How old are you?
I'm 37. I'm
support
from
Trump?
Utah as well.
You support Trump?
I do support Trump. I support some of the things he's doing. He's like a madman. He was like, so when we wanted the Epstein files released and everything, it was so funny. I got mad at him. He's like, quit talking about Epstein. And then all of a sudden they wanted to release it just because he was against. It's like anything he does, he could literally be like, hey, water, well, don't drink water. And people they're going to quit drinking water. It's so weird. Like, Trump deranged syndrome is real, but I don't think I don't think it's like mega, or I don't think it's the other side that's really ruining the country. Because if you really look at it, they'll take the most stupid people that don't know what they're talking about from both sides, and they'll record them and they'll post it, and it'll go viral.
You know, when I post, wait, I'll jump in on that because I don't really know what you're talking about, but you heard something interesting. I actually make a point of posting much longer clips generally. I post like 3-minute clips where the guest really gets to like make a case for themselves. I try to make sure that all of my clips are one where somebody can go to the 2-hour episode on YouTube, Linktree in the bio if you want to watch the show after the fact, find the clip in it, find the context, and I would argue that you could dig through the hundreds and hundreds of clips that I've posted and you will not find one where I took something out of context and made somebody look bad. I really try to give the guest the best opportunity that I can for them to make their case for whatever it is they want to talk about. And so what is it you're accusing me of doing? Why are you coming on here and saying all this to me?
You talking about, what do you mean?
I'm talking about what you just said about people posting clips, like showing off the worst from both sides. I will admit that I have to post some. The clips of the worst guests tend to do better to advertise the show.
No, not on this show. I've never seen you before.
Okay, I appreciate you not balling me in with the other people, but then I ask, why are you?
Media.
What are you ranting about? Why are you? What is the topic? What is this conversation I'm having with you?
So you said MAGA is running America, or
that's the prompt. America. That's the prompt. We can talk about that or anything else you want to do with politics.
Yeah,
but that's just the prompt.
I think it's the people, man. I think it's the people fighting amongst themselves. They want us to fight us amongst ourselves. They got us right where they want us, and it tears me apart. If we could all just get together and just move as one unit, the world would be a way better place.
I think the chat heard you say something that I didn't. It says ruining America.
Yeah.
Ruining, not running.
It's not ruining America. It's the people. It's the lower class people. It's not the
lower class people are disproportionate. Lower class people are disproportionately voting for MAGA. Less educated people. I mean, less educated people. Sorry, correction. I think it's wrong what I just said. It's less educated people who are voting for MAGA. I think poor people are voting in their own interest, which is not for MAGA. But my point is, MAGA is running the country. That is true. They control the branches of the government. They control what's going on right now. I am arguing that they are ruining America by taking advantage of uneducated voters.
I think they're both in cahoots together. I think the left and the rights are in cahoots together to keep us docile because,
how old did you say you were?
That could make everything happen. We could take it all away from them.
How old did you say you are?
37, sir.
Okay, I find it remarkable that you have that closed-minded view of American politics, given that's your age. You think that the left and the right are working together to make what's happening right now happen?
They're working behind closed doors. They're all blood-sucking pedophiles, dude. Every one of them.
I kicked him because if you call everybody a pedophile, TikTok flags you for misinformation because it doesn't happen to be true. Not everybody's a pedophile on the left or the right. So I just can't do it. It gets the show taken down. I don't even call Trump a pedophile because I don't think that meets the burden of proof for when I say something like Trump is a rapist. I think he's probably a P3DO. I'll stop saying the word, not get the account flagged. I think he's probably one. I think it's very suspicious that he's hiding the Epstein files. He's obviously protecting them. But I just have a very high burden of proof for levying that sort of accusation, and I can call him a rapist because he was found civilly liable for an action that is a rape. So the courts have decided on that, but we're just not there yet. I'd love to see the Epstein files so we could all accurately call him a P3DO, but I was calling everybody a P3DO, and I don't think he had a point. I don't think he had an actual conversation. Like I said, Saturdays are nuts, man. Even crazier than Sundays, I find, which makes sense. We're going to talk to Vlad again. Did we already talk to Vlad? Vlad, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Dude, seriously, is this a bit? Why are you on my show? What is this? I'm not interested in a cartoonish caricature of a Trump voter. Like the real ones are silly enough. I don't want this. I don't want this dishonest crap on my show. Why are you here?
Nah, I voted for Trump. I voted for him for the first election. The second time, I didn't vote.
Yeah, I'm not doing it, man. Like it's not. I think a lot of the people who call in and troll and pretend to be a really dumb Trump voter are like trying to help me. It doesn't help. You're not helping the cause. You're making me look dishonest if I fall for it. Math.cm77. We're going to find out if he is our first meaningful call of the day. What is it? 25 minutes of nonsense and we haven't had a real call yet? How old are you? Hello? Oh, I hear some white noise. Are you there? Hello? Hello? I can hear myself through his mic, so I know that I'm like live in the room. Hello? Oh, he's gone. He disconnected. Nobody in the queue. That's it. We defeated all the Trump voters for this particular Saturday. That's what the show was. That's all, folks. No, seriously. Get double tapping away on the screen. I'm going to have to start pestering the 250 of you that are watching. Like, seriously, every single one of you. There's 250 of you watching. Those of you who have me in the corner of your screen because you're doing something else, just take like 2 minutes to hop back into TikTok and just go double tapping away on the screen because we've got like 16,000 likes. If every single one of you did that, the viewership would spike to something like 350. And of those 100 people who join in, we would get a new caller who has never called me before, and we'd actually get something fresh on the show. So, seriously, I'm going to start being pissy because I am not seeing enough likes roll in, and I know that every single one of you listening want the show to succeed in that way. You definitely want there to be a caller. Jay Geekman, I'm going to check which one he was. I can never remember who I shouldn't let back up because they're going to like say a slur or something. Jay Geekman, how old are you again? Which one are you?
I'm 19 and I'm biologically a female, so when you refer to me, you can use she, her.
Sure, I'll refer to you as whatever you want. I spoke to you already today. What was it?
Oh no, I had a non-political question. I wanted to know what got you into politics, specifically podcasting against MAGA supporters. And what are your plans after Trump leaves office? Like, what are you going to do when MAGA's not around?
Okay, I'm gonna let you go just because it's bad for the stream to have friendlies up, but I will answer your question, which is that I got into doing this because I watched Dean and Parker and all the other debate hosts. I started listening to it, and I started seeing just how misguided the public was, and I literally thought... I so frequently found myself listening to a Dean or Parker, whoever stream, and thinking, oh my God, give me the mic. No, I want to do it. I have a better argument. I want to try it this way. So I hopped on and started doing it. I live in Minneapolis, and I have always been politically involved. So I was protesting Occupy Wall Street back when I lived in New York like 15 years ago. So with Operation Metro Surge and what's going on with ICE, like I've been involved in all that stuff here. So in terms of getting out in public and doing it, my accounts took off a little bit from my ICE videos. So I had enough of a following just that when I started doing lives, it worked, and I didn't have to like do a podcast for 10 people for a year to get traction. I just kind of had an automatic audience. So, I mean, that's why I'm involved. I do see somebody in the queue, but I'll answer the rest of the question, which is when this is all over, I will go from there, man. I don't know. Like, at the pace that I'm growing, like, I might be in a position to, like, if this all ends and we go back to normal politics in America and the whole concern about democracy failing in America that I have goes away, I might start a news station or something. Like I might. This is Scout, everybody. W's in the chat for Scout. I see somebody asking her name. Scout's very popular with the audience here because she bothers me during the show. Yeah. So it'll depend on how big my following is and how much like control of the discourse I have, how much influence over the discourse I have. I'd love to be one of the reasons that like mainstream media gets better in America, and maybe I'll have the power to do that after this is all over. We're gonna talk to SINTRADES. How old are you?
Yo, bro. I'm 19, brother.
I believe you. You're a Trump supporter?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you support Trump?
Because I be trading, right? And when I trade, he always drops a news event or a post, and it makes the market go crazy.
Okay, so you're swing trading on Trump's volatile actions. He's doing the same thing. It's insider trading when he does it. So you think that a president who creates such volatility in the market is good because you're benefiting from it financially?
If I were to speak on a personal level, yes. But on a global level, no, he's not a good president. I just like him because of that.
Right, so you're selfish.
Low key.
High key.
Yeah.
Any further questions?
No, that's it. See you later.
All right. Is this the third time Vlad's back? There's nobody else in the queue, so we're just going to do it for the bit. We're going to see what he's got this time. Which one was Vlad? I don't even remember. Somebody fix that about my brain, that I can never remember which username was which caller. Hello?
I'm the one that was born.
Oh, God, I should block him. Why didn't I block him? Should have blocked him that time. Oh, man. Thank you for the confetti. I guess I'll take a moment to do the commercial, even though we haven't had a caller yet today, as far as I'm concerned. If you go to Linktree in my bio, you can follow me on other platforms. That doesn't cost you a dime, and it helps the show. If you've got a dime you want to spare, you can send it to my Venmo, Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, or Patreon. That makes it so that I can quit my job, because I am planning to quit my job if this keeps going the way that it's going. So if anybody wants to contribute to that, that would be, that makes a big difference in my life, helps me pay some of those bills. But we're out of callers. So once again, I'm just going to start pestering everybody who's watching to get double tapping away on the screen. I see that there already are some people, and wow, we have shot up to 42,000 likes. So maybe I shouldn't be so harsh. You guys are, in fact, actually working on it. But when there isn't a caller, somebody says, where's the queue? It's a little button down here. If you're watching on a phone, you got to be watching on a phone. And there's a little pink and blue head that are next to each other down here. You can click on that. That's the request button, just to the right of the comments section. And that'll get you in the request queue, and I'll accept you right up, because there's nobody in the queue at the moment. When are we going to acknowledge MAGA's racist history? I mean, I acknowledge it often. I acknowledge it very, very often. Yeah, I don't know. That's a silly question. I talk about it all the time. MAGA is tied with the KKK. Yeah, absolutely, of course. I mean, the worst of the worst have come out in support of this movement. The reason we don't hear much from the Proud Boys and all these hate groups is because they're literally ICE agents now. The government gave them a job terrorizing minorities. There's literally leaked lists of the names of ICE agents, and on that list are such people as those who have been pardoned for trying to overthrow the government on January 6th. It's absolutely bananas. All right, we've got a caller. Thanks, mods, for W in chat for the mods, because the mods keep the show going while I'm paying attention to other stuff. How old are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Septic Salad. How old are you?
40.
40. You support Trump?
I wouldn't say I support Trump as much as I just didn't support his opposing candidates.
Do you want him to stay president? Do you think he should be impeached?
I mean, well, the effect of impeachment right now would just be that J.D. Vance gets to be president. I mean, I don't see a significant difference that this would make. I mean,
the reason it would make a difference is because then J.D. Vance would become a president in an America that impeaches its unconstitutional presidents. So then he would be afraid of being unconstitutional lest he be impeached. Or if he was unconstitutional, then he would be impeached, because the Congress that he would be president under would be one that impeached Trump. So no, I don't think you're right about that at all. I think it's very important that we impeach a president for breaking the rules.
You think it'd be a significant improvement for our country if the president was under realistic threat from the
right now, as it currently sits, Trump gets to do whatever the hell he wants, because he has learned time and time again that he does not get impeached when he does obvious impeachable offenses. And whether the president is Trump or Vance, stops being the case if we impeach the president.
What would constitute impeachable offense to you? Because every Democrat presidents have done the same thing. I mean,
no. I have another canned response to that, which is that when you're president for 4 or 8 years, it is pretty difficult to make it all the way through without some majorly unpopular constitutional blunder. Obama misused drones in a way that I'm critical of. Biden made a big mistake when he tried to forgive student loans using the executive order, because that has to do with finances and money and the power of the purse, which belongs to Congress, which is why the Supreme Court rightfully shot it down. If those are the two biggest blunders that we can pull from those two presidencies, you should be very concerned about the fact that Trump has a blunder that big once or twice a week. So if you're going to bring them up at all, why are you not freaking out about what Trump is doing when he constantly files unconstitutional executive orders that are not just unconstitutional?
Has he done anything that's more egregious than, weaponizing OSHA to force vaccine mandates on the entire country?
I don't think that was a bad thing to do at all. So yes, he's done many things.
Yeah, it's terribly unconstitutional. It's
all right,
massive violation of
Is it unconstitutional that schools and workplaces already required vaccines?
No, school is optional. Workplaces do not require vaccines.
Your workplace is optional. You can go start your own business.
No, workplaces do not require vaccines. One, that's not a federally mandated thing. And
certain ones do. There are certain things that you can do that require you to have your vaccines. That is established as the precedent in the country. Health officials are allowed to make regulations that keep everybody safe by doing that. It happens in workplaces and schools, even if it's not necessarily across the entire board. So what's so special about the COVID vaccines? Thanks for the gifts, everybody.
I mean, you don't think there was anything special about
I think it's pretty remarkable that we were able to run all the clinical trials simultaneously to get them approved faster. It was very expensive. It was a very impressive program that Donald Trump did in his first term, Operation Warp Speed, to make sure that we could have those vaccines approved faster, even though it's very expensive to do that for reasons that I'm able to explain if you don't understand how that worked. That was interesting. But the vaccines are, as it turns out, the vaccines for COVID are actually safer than your average vaccine for fucking anything. Like, you go to the doctor and get your normal vaccine. The incidence of adverse side effects or death with just like the regular vaccines that we all have been getting our whole lives, they just happen to be a little bit more dangerous than the COVID vaccines. They're all an acceptable rate of dangerous. They all reduce harm, but it just worked out nicely that the COVID vaccines aren't that dangerous.
Well, I mean, again, I'm not a proponent necessarily of forcing anyone to get vaccines, and especially not using the federal government to try to, to weaponize that specifically. I mean, I would say that's probably one of the most egregious things that the federal government could do is,
so you're just going back to what you said at the beginning.
Threatening everyone's livelihood in order to get them to inject something that they don't agree to put in their body.
I mean, this federal mandate that you're talking about didn't exist, by the way.
No, yeah, well, it got shot down, but after he already, pushed it. Okay. Yeah.
So again, here, just to keep us on topic, I will say, let's just for the sake of argument, allow me to concede my thoughts on the vaccine. Let's put that in the pile of stuff that Biden did that was bad, trying to forgive student loans, which was also a good thing. He just went about it in a way that was unconstitutional, so the Supreme Court shot it down. Okay, so we're up to 2 when there are hundreds with Trump. Why are we not talking about Trump? He's currently the president.
Okay, I mean, that's, again, if you can bring something that's more egregious than what I just mentioned,
Donald Trump has on numerous occasions filed executive orders that directly have gone against the language in the Constitution. Do you think that the president saying that the Constitution is unimportant is a problem?
Okay, but he would also have to, once it gets struck down, do it anyway for it to be a constitutional violation.
Trump was asked in an interview about due process and whether or not he has to follow the Constitution, and he said, when asked directly if he has to follow the Constitution, I don't know. You don't think that's a problem?
But when he does obviously he's not, again, I'm not saying he's the ideal candidate. Obviously, he's not a lawyer with any kind of experience in constitutional law. Of course not. Most of his decisions are
He's the president who swore an oath to the Constitution. He should be that level of concerned and educated about the Constitution. I don't accept your plea for his ignorance. He's the fucking president.
I don't think any president has had judicial, or Supreme Court judge level understanding of the Constitution. I don't think that's ever been a requirement.
But they are required to follow the Constitution and understand it, and he's not doing that.
They are required to follow it, yes. And so anytime that he gives an executive order, and if it's found unconstitutional, the Supreme Court says, hey, that's unconstitutional, and you know what happens? He's like, oh, okay, I will I abide by the Supreme Court's decision here and not continue this. However, if he was like, oh, screw you, Supreme Court, I see your decision, I reject it, and I'm going to do it anyway via the power of the military or whatever force mechanism that he's employing, then that would be an impeachable offense. Do
you want to talk about him abusing the power of the military to accomplish his own personal goals? Because he used the military to invade Venezuela on spurious charges against the president, who he then captured, threatened the new president because the vice president became president. He said, I'm going to continue abusing the American military to threaten your country if you don't give us all of your oil. He is now selling that oil on a global market where he has inflated the prices with his war in Iran, which he also used the U.S. military to do. Now he's taking that money and offshoring it to an account in Qatar that the government doesn't control, which is a further egregious overstep of his power as president. So he is doing exactly that. He is using the U.S. military. He is using the U.S. military for personal gain, which I would argue is a high crime or misdemeanor. We're
not talking about impeachable offenses, which is what you're talking about, which is would require him to actually violate the Constitution. There's nothing in the Constitution that says he cannot.
The impeachment is not just for constitutional violations. It is for high crimes and misdemeanors, which includes, as president, violations of your oath of office, which is challenges to the Constitution, which is why constitutional violations are included under those high crimes and misdemeanors.
Yes,
You wanted an example. You wanted an example of him abusing the military for to achieve his positions that he wants to accomplish unconstitutionally or as an overstep of his power, and I immediately gave an enormous example of that. Answer to it.
Answer to him using
he violates the Constitution in so many ways that whenever a caller like you says, well, I'd need him to do this, I literally just pluck out of my brain an example of him doing that because he violates it all the fucking time. So answer to it. He did use the military for personal gain.
In using the military against Venezuela and using the military against Iran is not violating the Constitution in any way. Like,
I just answered to that.
Okay. So which violation has he done? Again, so you were saying that this would be an impeachable offense because in using
robbing people at gunpoint is a crime, right?
Robbing people at gunpoint is a crime?
Yeah, robbing any entity at gunpoint, taking something that doesn't belong to you from somebody under force, right? Okay, the gun is the U.S. military. He used the U.S. military as the weapon in a violent crime. That's a crime. The impeachment is for high crimes and misdemeanors.
You're just mischaracterizing. That's a false equivocation. You're just mischaracterizing.
Explaining what did I say about what happened in Venezuela that's false?
What did you say that happened in Venezuela is false?
Yeah, you said that I'm mischaracterizing it. What about it did I mischaracterize?
Oh, you're mischaracterizing it as a crime committed by the United States.
Mm-hmm. Robbing a country of their oil is waging a war of conquest. It's a war crime. It's a very high level of crime.
I mean, again, you're characterizing as robbing a country. I mean, having better oil access may be a tertiary effect, not even secondary.
You'd have an argument if he was using that oil to benefit the American people in any way. It's not going into our oil reserves. It's not cushioning the gas market here. It's not doing any of that. He's literally selling it for profit, and the money's not going to the government or the people.
Again,
it's being offshored in Qatar.
You're talking about decisions made on tertiary effects of this. Like if the justification, and I'm sure
I'm going to quote you from just a second ago, where you said that I'm talking about decisions he's making on tertiary effects. What does that mean? What are you talking about?
So the oil is a downstream effect of this.
It's the only effect of it.
No, every military action prior to the military action has a robust system. Like, I don't know if you know anything about military courts or military law, but it goes through a robust system of analyzing what's.
Are you just trusting that? Are you just trusting that process is being respected, and therefore everything I just said about Venezuela is necessarily okay for some reason? How are you okay with the fact that the money is going to Qatar? Explain that to me.
Again, I mean, I don't know what kind of bilateral economic relations we have with Qatar specifically. I mean,
the important thing here is that the president is using the military to accomplish a thing that is creating profit, and that profit, instead of going into the Federal Reserve and the Treasury, instead of being controlled by Congress like it's supposed to, is going to an offshore account in Qatar that the government has no control over. Make it make sense. Why is it allowable for the president to do that?
I mean, again, if you're making a claim that this is happening, like you're looking inside the offshore account somehow, I don't know where you're getting the source where you're able to view bank transactions between countries. But I don't have access to that. I'm an international banker. I'm not the IRS.
You can Google it after the phone call. If I'm right about what I'm saying is happening, do you think that Trump should be impeached?
Again, we would have to understand why that's happening. If this is a matter of
make up a reason that makes it acceptable.
Okay, we established under the Trump administration through the CIA a bilateral intelligence agreement with Qatar that wasn't there before, and there's under certain FISA court decisions that we don't have people don't have access to. There has been an agreement to send that kind of money to Qatar.
Why would that be acceptable? Why should we be working financially with Qatar in that way?
I mean,
it's still bad.
If you don't think it's acceptable and you think that's impeachable, well, congrats. We're impeaching every single president since this advent of the CIA.
What is the money being used for? Is the question.
Again, in that specific example of a bilateral intelligence agreement, I mean, it could be just I mean, whatever intelligence assets we could be paying. It could be.
I will remind you that this is a country that gifted him a 747.
Okay.
Why?
Why? I don't know. Who cares? What, you know,
I care. The American people should care. It's a national security risk to accept a piece of technology that large from a country that we're not necessarily allies with. It's
not any bigger than the Statue of Liberty. I mean, I don't care. Countries give gifts. Who cares?
Does the president fly around in the Statue of Liberty, or does the president fly around in a 747?
Is the Statue of Liberty more expensive than a 747? I don't know.
That wasn't my question. Does the president fly around in the Statue of Liberty?
No.
Yes or no? No. Okay, then my concern about national security doesn't apply to the Statue of Liberty. The technology that would make the Statue of Liberty a surveillance risk didn't exist in the 1800s when France gifted it to us. What are you talking about?
I was just talking about the premise of, gifts being, accepted by other countries, whether or not that's good or bad. I mean, it seemed like you were establishing that we should not be receiving gifts from countries when we do it all the time, and we gift up countries things all the time.
The Statue of Liberty was a gift to the American people. It's a statue on an island south of Manhattan in New York. The president doesn't get to
keep his plane after president.
The president, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
How are you so sure about that?
Okay,
it's not Air Force One. The White House has contracts. The White House has contracts with Boeing for a new Air Force One because the Air Force One is aging. That 747 is like 30, 40 years old at this point. They need a new one. Those contracts have been delayed. Boeing has been dropping the ball on it. So there is this excuse of needing a stopgap jetliner. But the gift was a personal gift to the President Trump, not to the United States of America. It's not owned by the government.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
I think that every time we come up against a piece of information that makes you look wrong, you're going to say that you don't think that that's necessarily true, and you're going to invent a CIA conspiracy to make it make sense, which is what you did about the offshoring in Qatar.
But it's not a CIA conspiracy. I mean, we have these relations all the time. I mean, what you're doing is you're talking about very complex, international trade agreements and everything, and you're kind of like minimizing it down to like the worst possible interpretation. So
I am talking about things that have happened as a matter of fact, and you are making up excuses for them.
Well, you're talking about the reason they happened. So, and you're making up the reason. Like, you have no idea why.
Let's just speed around this. Why was it okay that the IRS settled with Trump for $1.776 billion, which is an arbitrary amount that matches a year that we care about, instead of an actual financial figure that was established to be reasonable for some external reason to it looking good on paper? Why was that okay after he attempted to sue his own country for $10 billion of our taxpayer dollars because of something they did? And why is it okay that now him and his family are legally exempt from investigation from the IRS for the rest of their lives? Why is that okay? Make that make sense for me.
I'm not saying that it is necessarily okay.
If it's not okay, what do we do about it?
Doesn't sound like we need to do anything about it. I mean,
I think we should impeach a president who does these sorts of things.
But it's not illegal. He hasn't done anything illegal.
It's flagrantly illegal.
No.
An agreement where he is exempt from investigation for future crimes, that's fucking illegal. It's so obviously illegal that we don't even have a good mechanism for describing the degree to which it's illegal. I've heard lawyers talk about this, and it's one of the most remarkably illegal things that's ever happened in American history.
It's always been the case with presidents. It's just that it was codified.
No. When has a president ever done anything like that?
Anything like what? Like
exempting themselves and their family from all crimes in the future of a particular type, these financial crimes with the IRS. When has a president ever done anything like that?
Didn't Biden just do that?
No. He preemptively pardoned some family members, which is a thing that a lot of people were critical of, but I think it was semi-reasonable given the way that Trump was going after his family. That's different than saying that the IRS can't investigate crimes that haven't happened yet.
Why is preemptive pardoning reasonable, but what you're describing is unreasonable?
Because the things that he was pardoning his family for were things that have already transpired in the past, and he was protecting them from Trump, as opposed to Trump saying that now the IRS can't investigate him or his family members, because it's not all that relevant that they can't investigate him. He's old and dying. But it's very relevant that the people who are going to inherit his dynasty are now protected from the IRS forever. That's fucking insane. I literally just said, you can be critical of Biden pardoning his family. I was as well. I think it was a bad PR move for the fact that you get to bring this up in the conversation. I don't think it was worth it. That said, what is happening with the IRS is worse. Trump's going to die, and then Biden's pardons aren't going to be of any use. Like this extends generationally through the Trump dynasty that's potentially about to begin in America if we end up in some sort of what's the word? I'm spacing on the word for when a dictatorship is of the sort that's inherited by the children of the dictator. But anyway, why is it okay? I guess dynasty is the right word. It doesn't matter. Why is it okay that he did that?
Again, I'm not saying that it is necessarily okay.
If it's not okay, I think we should impeach him for it because it's a high crime or misdemeanor.
It's not an impeachable offense.
It's a high crime or misdemeanor. That's what I mean when I say it's not okay that he did that.
There's nothing in the Constitution or nothing in constitutional law. There has been no Supreme Court decision, anything to back up that your claim that this is a high crime. You just don't like it. I understand that you don't like it.
No, I already answered to that. We're talking in circles at this point. I already said, I already gave my defense for why I think it's so obviously illegal.
I know your defense for why you think it's illegal is that you think it's illegal, but there isn't actually a statute that he's violating here.
Talk to the lawyers, dude.
That's what happens. That's how impeachments happen. We don't just impeach people. No,
impeachments happen. Impeachments happen if the people who sit in Congress respect the Constitution instead of the president. And right now, we have a majority of people who vote with the president instead of the Constitution. That's why he hasn't been impeached. Well, that's why he hasn't been convicted. He has been impeached twice.
Yeah, so you're saying that impeachments in our current system are just purely based off of the opinion of Congress members because none of them are actually utilizing proper judicial law.
I mean, you do realize that actually, if you want like a legal justification for this situation or like a legal explanation for it, you do realize that it's unconstitutional for the same reason that it was unconstitutional for President Biden to forgive student loans in the ways that he attempted to. That $1.776 billion belongs to the people. And the fact that he negotiated for it to go to J6 rioters and other associates of his instead of allowing Congress to decide how that money is allocated, that's also unconstitutional. If you need something that's directly unconstitutional.
I don't think that the 1.77 whatever billion, I don't think that has actually been allocated to any Gen U6ers. I think they are fighting legal battles right now, and I think that upon
it's going to his associates, and people expect it to also be the J6ers. It doesn't have to be the J6ers for what I just said to be unconstitutional and problematic.
Well, again, this is currently being litigated, and if it is found to violate, whatever statute that you're talking about, then okay, great. It violated a statute, therefore it is no longer going to these people. Okay. That's how that works. Unless he says, you know what, screw that court decision that was just made. I'm going to, at gunpoint, allocate the money anyway. At which point,
let's fine. Okay, then fine. Let's move on to the next thing. Let's talk about a time where Trump did disobey the orders of the court, because when he had two planes of immigrants or alleged illegal immigrants on the way to CICOT in El Salvador that he was deporting, the courts determined that it was unconstitutional for those planes to land because the people on the planes hadn't been given their constitutional right to due process. He defied the judge's orders and allowed the planes to land. Why are you okay with him disobeying court orders, given that you just said that you would need to see him disobeying a court order in order to believe me that what he's doing is unconstitutional?
Well, the court order has to be achievable. Like we
can turn a plane around.
If you're falling off a cliff and then
that's not how planes work. That's not how planes work. They can turn the planes around. I've heard this counter argument so many times. The planes can turn around. It takes hours for planes to fly.
They just all have the access to
they have radios,
aerial refueling, and all that.
Yep.
And they're fine.
Yep.
No, they don't.
They literally do. They literally do.
Okay, you know how you have to have
even if they needed to land and refuel and return to base, still that would obey the judge's order. But you're making up shit about like the logistics of the U.S. Air Force, which again, this is an example of the president using the military to do things that are unconstitutional. He was supposed to turn the planes around. It was ordered by a judge, and he didn't obey the order. And you're saying that it was because of a logistical issue involving fuel? That's nonsense.
I mean, well, I'm pretty sure actually that it was ruled that judge was giving orders that exceeded his scope of authority. So there was also that happening.
If you want to follow the rules would still dictate that the president needs to follow that order until it is overturned by a higher judge. Maybe send those people back to CICOT in El Salvador after we figure it out. But the fact of the matter is, the president is subject to the court orders of federal judges, and he disobeyed the orders. So again, why are you okay with a president who violates orders from judges? The judicial branch is one of the branches that's supposed to check the power of the president. If he's not following their orders, then the checks and balances aren't working.
Yeah, I'm sure it was litigated at the time, and
you're sure that there's some bullshit that makes me wrong? No, dude. I'm explaining to you what happened, and you're just making up that there's.
It was already determined by the higher court that judge was acting outside of the scope of his authority. So if
that's made up. You're making that up because you think I'm wrong, but that just isn't the fact of the case. The judge had ordered for Trump to turn the planes around, and he didn't. He disobeyed a judge's order. Should the president, under any circumstances, disobey the orders of a federal judge?
Yeah, they don't. Federal judges do not just any. They don't have judicial authority outside of their districts. So no.
Federal judges are judges of the federal government. Their jurisdiction is the United States. Their jurisdiction includes the president. I'm not talking about some random judge in Tennessee.
It's broken up into federal districts. They don't have.
Yeah, you're just making up solutions. But the fact of the matter is that we are talking about a judge who did have the authority to give this sort of order. You're just making up that he didn't.
No, it's literally ruled that he acted outside of the scope of his authority.
If that was ruled later, then the question still stands: why did the president disobey an order that he was, according to the law, supposed to follow?
I think it was already determined then too.
It wasn't. No, he disobeyed a judge's order. You are just making up that he didn't actually do that, and I'm going to keep grilling you on the fact that he did because he did.
Okay, well, let's grant that happened. And
what do we do with a president that doesn't obey judge's orders? Doesn't respect the checks and balances that it is for a judge to order the president to do something?
Well, it's totally fine because federal judges have authority within their districts, but they don't have authority to.
No, you're just falling back on that. But again, the fact of the matter is that the judge had the authority to give the order. The judge gave the order, and the president disobeyed it. You're just making that up. No, yes, he did.
Okay, the Supreme Court ruled that he didn't, so I don't know what to tell you, man.
We're talking in circles. I've already said that this judge had the order. I mean, this isn't the only example of Trump disobeying judges' orders. How about the time that the judges ordered him to release SNAP benefits so that, children wouldn't starve, and he refused during the government shutdown? Why was it okay for him to do that? Why did he violate that judge's order? The one that ordered him to feed children?
Again, I don't think he was found in any contempt of the law here. I don't
Yeah, no shit. He hasn't been impeached yet. The checks and balances aren't working. I'm talking about the things that he has done, which include on multiple occasions violating orders of judges. And the only reason that we got to this whole chapter of the conversation where we're talking about him violating orders of judges is because we were talking for a long time about things that he does that are unconstitutional, and you said that you haven't seen him violate the orders of a judge. So we're now on our second example. He was ordered by the courts to release the SNAP benefits to prevent people from starving, including the children of people who maybe you could make an argument for some terrible argument about how these people aren't working hard enough or something, but I don't know how you can defend the fact that the president disobeyed a judge's order where the result of him disobeying that order was children going without food. Millions of them, by the way.
I mean, did they go without food?
Yeah, for about a month.
They just all starved. Now they're no longer here.
They had to forego paying their rent to pay for food. Their parents did. Yeah. That's how it works when you take away people's SNAP benefits. Yes. They had less food had to make difficult decisions.
They had no other means of getting food than just...
I know you don't care about those people suffering. We're talking about the fact that they suffered because the president violated a judicial order. Why is it okay that the president disobeyed that particular judicial order? Because you clearly think that it's impossible to turn a plane around, so the first example doesn't matter.
I mean, again, I would have to, I'm taking your word at face value here.
If I'm right about everything I just said, should we impeach him?
No, I would say probably not.
Okay, so even if I'm right about everything I just said, we shouldn't impeach the president, so you don't believe in the checks and balances?
No, if it was the case that this judge had the authority to make that demand of the federal government and this was ignored, and then I would say, okay, yeah, maybe that would be an impeachable offense.
Okay, that is what happened. That is what happened. Are you So are you going to go check, or are you just going to hang up the phone and pretend you never talked to me because I said things that were convincing about the fact that the president should be impeached? You're going to move on to another live where the host isn't as educated about this stuff as I am, and you're going to declare the W because you talked them into confusion instead of me because your shit's not working on me. You're just going to have amnesia about this phone call.
I'm saying that I don't think that you have researched this. I don't, because you are making an assertion. And I don't think this assertion is actually backed up by the legal authority of this judge that you're talking about. I would say that it's evidenced by the fact that.
Dude, I peddle facts, man. My chat calls me the fuck out when I get stuff wrong. Chat, am I getting this wrong? Like, dude, you can go research it yourself. Like, you don't need to trust me. It's not a great use of the time to Google things that are obviously known to the public because there are major news headlines about them and they're not at all hidden. Trump isn't even hiding his crimes anymore. So you can go Google yourself. You can go follow the news and see that this shit is happening.
Well, I'm sure that you saw this happen in the news.
Thank you for the Galaxy Googled it. Kate. I appreciate it.
I'm sure that you have Googled it, but I don't think you actually have any kind of nuanced understanding of the legal backing behind what you're saying.
It sounds like I do and you don't, and I think anybody watching this call would see that.
Okay, you haven't named a single statute so that it is violated.
I've given two. You wanted examples of the president violating the orders from the court. I have given 2 examples of him doing that, and you have ignored both of them.
No,
you don't need a statute. You're moving the goalpost back to saying which law did he violate, when the fact of the matter is, if a judge gives you an order, it is against the law to disobey that order. Do you recognize that? We don't need a specific statute to point that out.
No, because judges don't have that unilateral authority to make those orders outside of their district.
We give them the right to make those sort of, guess what, judgments.
No, we don't.
That's what a judge is.
I know, within their district.
What their job is. Oh, yeah. Chad helped me out. The crime is contempt of court. It's contempt of court if you violate the order of a judge.
I understand, but they don't have.
I don't think you do understand. Yes, they do. Okay. The courts have authority over the president. That is how the checks and balances work.
No, federal district courts do not have the authority to stay the hand of the president.
Yes, they
do. No,
most of the things that Trump does that are unconstitutional or illegal are so obviously unconstitutional and illegal that they don't even make it to the Supreme Court. We only need the Supreme Court if the decision gets appealed through the federal courts, and so often that doesn't happen because what he's doing is so flagrantly or illegal or unconstitutional that we just don't even need the Supreme Court. It doesn't make it to the highest level in the courts, and you're using that as a defense when the fact of the matter is that actually makes it more bad for what the president is doing, because it gives you some nuance to say, oh, it made it all the way to the Supreme Court, but if it doesn't even make it there, it means that what he was doing is even more obviously wrong. Thank you, Charmander, for sending me $10 on Venmo. What's the message today? Let me read that out for everybody. The Venmo app is so slow. Oh, it's actually for Noodle, my dog, who is somewhere. Where is she? I don't know where she went. She's like under my desk or something. Anyway, I'll buy some treats for Noodle. What were we saying about your nonsense about not believing in the American government at all because you don't believe in the checks and balances or the authority of the courts?
A federal judge operating within his district, for example, if the president is doing something specifically that is impacting or related to persons within a federal judge's district.
That's exactly what was happening when he was denying those people their SNAP benefits. Continue.
I don't think that's what's happening. I think the SNAP benefits.
Where are the people who receive SNAP benefits? Like which of our 50 states are the people who receive SNAP benefits in?
Again, I
answer the question. Which of our 50 states are people who receive SNAP benefits in? How many of our 50 states?
I don't know. Again, I'm unfamiliar.
It's all 50 of them. It's embarrassing for you in this call that you don't understand that, because the fact that it's all 50 of them demonstrates that any federal judge has jurisdiction over the matter.
Within their state, within their district, yes.
Mm-hmm. So even if it's just their state,
if he's denying SNAP benefits to someone in Tennessee, a judge in Washington can't make a ruling on that.
Are you suggesting that all of the judges crisscrossed and made orders about the wrong states, and that's why it was okay that Trump disobeyed their orders? Did you just make that shit up? What are you talking about, dude?
Again, I'm sure this was litigated at the time. I'm sure a decision was made. I'm sure that at the time.
Why are you suggesting that the judges who have jurisdiction over Washington were making orders about Tennessee? Why did you say that on my show?
That's what happened? That was in relation to the your previous example about the planes landing in Salvador.
Nope, we're talking about SNAP benefits now.
I'm telling you
that's why I asked you which of the 50 states have people in them that receive SNAP benefits. I told you because somehow you didn't know that the answer to that question is literally all 50 of them. And because it is all 50 of them, the federal judges who have jurisdiction over their districts do have jurisdiction over those people and the things that the president does that affects those people. So you're concerned about these judges not having jurisdiction over what the president is doing is literally fucking made up. You made it up in this conversation because you're fucking cornered and you know it.
Okay, that was just one aspect of it. What I'm saying is that
it's the topic of conversation. The topic of the conversation is the fact that the president violated judicial orders to pay out SNAP benefits so that hungry people wouldn't have to decide between rent and food. You then argued that the federal judges who made those orders didn't have jurisdiction.
I think that's
why do you think that that's not what happened?
But I don't think that's what happened.
You can go read the court orders yourself, dude.
All right, let me read the court orders.
Are you actually going to go do that? He's teacup.
Yeah, I'll go read the court orders, and I'm sure it's going to say, "Oh, this was litigated, this decision was made," and there you go. Like, unless you're going to provide the court orders that's where it says, "Oh, here he just violated it," but I mean, you're mostly just going by based off of what the news told you at the time. So.
I'm going after the fact that I have followed this stuff closely and I run a debate live where I get in a lot of trouble if I get stuff wrong. You are going off your feelings and making shit up. You are making up nonsense that would potentially, in your mind... You literally don't even understand the situation enough to make up a hypothetical that makes me wrong, because your attempts to make up details that make me wrong don't even do that successfully because you don't understand the law.
Okay, your metric for being held to a standard of getting things wrong or not. It's useless if all 200 plus people currently watching your live, if none of them are lawyers and none of them have any.
Some of them are lawyers. There are lawyers who are friends of the show who help me with this stuff when I don't.
If they don't have any more information on this particular case than you or I do, then it doesn't matter if you're being held to the standard of your community. And your community is already, mostly, it seems by these comments, they're mostly, anti-Trump and already, love everything you're saying. So they're going to have that bias, implicit bias right there. That's not going to actually hold you to any standards. So they will hold you to standards.
My mods just messaged me. My mods just messaged me. There is an attorney in the chat who would like to join the panel. She is welcome to come up and discuss this, because apparently the guest is just asserting that there aren't lawyers that work on this show when there literally are. Dude, come on. I'm not a lawyer, so
there aren't. I'm just saying that most of the people in your chat are going to have a bias towards you. And
you wanted a lawyer. Here's a lawyer.
All right.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What's going on?
What's your name?
My name?
Yeah, you're a new lawyer for me.
Well, hello. It's Attorney Di or Attorney D. Speaker's choice.
I'm gonna trust that somebody who has 134,000 followers on TikTok would have gone to jail for lying about being a lawyer if that's what you were doing. So I am going to trust you, and I am going to turn my house speakers up a little bit and step away to the bathroom while the mods control the show and you talk to my guest. I will be able to hear the conversation. Are you okay taking the floor?
Sure, no problem. And also, I've got people backing me up in the comments.
Appreciate you so much. I'm going to check out for a second, but I will be able to hear everything. I'll be back soon.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. So, dude, what should I call you? Septic? Septic? Okay. All right. So I'm just kind of coming in last minute. What are y'all talking about?
Oh, we're just talking about the legal authority of, federal district court judges to, how much the scope of their authority over staying the hand of the president as the president's conducting, whatever his executive mandates are.
Okay, so it's a jurisdiction. You're saying all federal courts have jurisdiction over anything that he's doing?
Well, that's what I mean. The host was to me, it seemed like he was getting that, like, if a federal court judge, any federal court judge, makes an order on the president, then now he just has to, like, that's final, and the president has no kind of maneuverability around said judgment, and that there's no way that a federal court judge cannot be exceeding the scope of their authority when they do this.
Right. Yes. So that's right. Are you saying that's not true?
I am saying that is not true. I'm saying that they're...
Okay, I got you now. Okay, sorry, just trying to make sure I understood where you're coming from. So a little bit of a problem that I found with most people is they don't understand the extent of the power of the executive branch. They tend to put a lot of faith into foreign affairs and defending the country. And under those two things, just kind of carte blanche it for Mr. Orange. I apologize, that's not rude. I'm just trying to not get dinged on the TikTok. But a lot of people think so, and especially, I would have to say, is over the executive orders. So the executive orders go out, and let me know if you're understanding what I'm saying here, but those executive orders go out, and then people are like, what's going on? Is that what you're referring to by federal judges having power over the president?
To give some context, I'm just going to interject here, which is specifically what we were discussing is the fact that Trump disobeyed an order to pay out SNAP benefits during the government shutdown, and the guest was arguing that the judges that ordered him to do that didn't have the authority.
Right. Okay, excellent. Thank you. So, so let's talk about that. Why don't they have authority? It's kind of going along with my same hypothetical, so we'll just wrap it all together.
Well, I wasn't necessarily making that as the whole argument. I was saying that probably at the time, because I'm unfamiliar with the case, maybe you are more familiar with it, but at the time, I'm sure this was litigated, and I don't think that he actually violated a court order that he was supposed to be beholden to here.
Okay. Interesting. There are several actually orders that he has had some significant problems with. So I guess I would go back one more step even, and I would say, do you know the level and how your state courts work? You know, there's 3 levels to each court, right?
Sure, yeah.
All right, so you got your district court, that's where you've got your trials, your appellate court, that's your first appeal, and then the last court, which is the Supreme Court in your state, right?
Yes.
So that works.
Federal court judges, right?
Okay, that works for the federal court system too. The bottom one is the district courts, middle is the appellate courts, top is the U.S. Supreme Court, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So the courts that are working with federal law, they're going through all 3 of those different steps up to the Supreme Court, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when we're dealing with the federal court, we're not dealing with something like the state court, where every state is different. The federal court itself is its own piece.
Of course, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if the lower court tells the president, who is doing an executive order, I guess, not to do something, that's going to require something other than just a lawsuit. What you're talking about there is a writ of mandamus, and those are very rare, although have been asked for quite a bit with this administration. So basically, when you have an order, it needs to be at the Supreme Court level, or else he will disregard it and he'll say, screw it, I don't care. But when the Supreme Court's been involved to say due process for immigrants, whether they're here legally or not, that kind of a piece from the U.S. Supreme Court, that needs to be acknowledged and done properly. Do you think that it's being done properly after the Supreme Court said you need to do that?
Oh, but if I could go back for a second there, you did say that there is a special requirement, elevated requirement of a court order by a judge before it can actually be applicable to the president, right? It has to go higher up in the chain of authority through that federal court system.
Nope. Any of the federal courts can do it. It's just he pushes things and does interlocutory appeals. So we have to go all the way to the top or he'll ignore it.
Okay. So with doing these interlocutory appeals, he's able to ignore it as it's going through that process, right?
Right. And then that's why we've got some significant contempt issues. Actually, a huge one going on in DC right now. And if you see the DOJ attorneys are getting huge ethics complaints against them and so on. So it's not like nothing is happening. It's just, most people aren't looking to see what the huge contempt issues are. Criminal contempt.
I have a clarification question, because I think I'm seeing some of the disconnect between you two right now, which is that he has the power to disobey those federal judges, but it's still contempt of court. It's still illegal. If assuming that then the Supreme Court rules in the favor of the judges. Am I understanding correctly?
Yep.
There we go. And that is, by the way, precisely what I was arguing earlier.
So if the Supreme Court were to rule in favor of the president, though, what about that? How does that change that situation?
The Supreme Court. All right. So if a case is on an executive order that he did, which is not law because the president cannot make law, but if that goes all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court and they argue it out and they're like, all right, well, this executive order is legal, like what they did to the teachers in California, then, there you go.
So just to give an example of how, sorry to interrupt, but I want to give a specific example of how what the lawyer who I just brought onto the show to explain this to you mirrors exactly what I said, which is that when the planes were ordered to be turned around, it was still contempt of court for Trump to not turn the planes around. But if a higher court later ruled against that decision, then Trump would still be allowed to deport those people to El Salvador. But the fact of the matter is, under the orders of the federal judges, he can't. That's still contempt of court.
Correct. Yep.
And in that situation where, okay, so you're saying that if the Supreme Court rules in favor of Trump here,
then he can send them back. Then he can deport them again. But the fact that he continued deporting them in violation of judges' orders, that was contempt of court, which is what I was saying he was doing, that it was illegal. So the lawyer has come up and perfectly mirrored what I've said.
And then the lawyer says that in that case, that is an impeachable offense if the president does this.
We can't go down that impeachable road because high crimes and misdemeanors is pretty vague. There's
up to
a lot
interpretation
of
of Congress.
There you go.
Up to interpretation. Interesting. Okay.
Boy,
yes,
like
I'm arguing that. I'm arguing that Congress is interpreting.
You are interpreting this as an impeachable offense. That's of course, because you hate Donald Trump, you left. Of course. Okay.
Well,
that's how you're going to interpret it.
I don't hate Donald Trump.
I
shouldn't say his name.
I was talking about the host. Sorry,
I do hate Donald Trump, so that's
okay.
Fair. I'll give you that. But I hate him. I don't hate him. I don't think that he's disobeying judges' orders because I hate him. I hate him because he's disobeying judges' orders. Right. I don't think the things about him because I hate him so much. I didn't hate him. As a New Yorker, I walked past him on the street like 12, 13 years ago, and I thought, neat, that's Donald Trump, because I lived in the same neighborhood as him. I didn't have a strong opinion about the guy. He was just another rich asshole. I started hating him when he became a politician and started doing all this horrible, illegal, unethical, unconstitutional shit. And we're sitting here listing examples of it, and you're making this circular argument about the fact you're accusing me of hate.
So you only started hating him in like 2024?
His first term.
Well, I think as soon as he starts to violate the Constitution, he's no longer a good person. I think that's fair to say for sure.
Of course, yeah. I mean, if he was actually violating the Constitution,
and he is.
He's been in what way? It has come to my attention the crimes he's committed. He committed sex crimes in the 90s. That's been proven in court. That happened before I knew about it. So when he became a politician, I became
it was determined, but that's not. It wasn't proven that
Right,
the attorney can weigh in that.
I think the best argument that you've made today is that it was determined that Trump is a rapist, not proven. Good job.
Yeah.
It was determined by a jury in a civil court.
It was determined that Trump is a rapist. Correct.
Yep.
But he wasn't proven in court, right? Like the proof is different.
No. Wait, what? He went to court. They said you did these bad acts, and now he has to pay a bunch of money. It's just that simple.
Yeah, that's what a court proving something is.
That's not a proof of a thing. It's just a determination of a jury, which could be later found to be
legally. That's what proof is.
Yep.
No, that's not what proof is.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Okay. Well, I mean, then I guess we're using a different definition of proof. My definition of proof is something that is.
Your definition of proof is why the American president is a rapist. It's people thinking like you that allowed that to happen.
No, it's just my definition would be that it has to be undeniably factual.
I think if you had children and you learned these things about their babysitter, I don't think these are the sorts of arguments you'd be making.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I mean,
sorry, I'm a little snappy.
You're appealing to an emotive response that I may or may not have in that scenario.
I think your concise statements are excellent. Oh, sorry, I interrupted again.
You're doing great. I appreciate you.
No, well, happy to help.
I think you're appealing to a hypothetical situation, and
it's not a hypothetical situation. He's the president of the country. That's a bigger deal than him being a babysitter. Mm-hmm. It's actually worse.
I understand, but still going back to like something being factual or not. If it's determined by a jury, that doesn't make it factual.
Can I just remind everybody watching that what's happening right now is that you said that I'm not a lawyer, so I brought a lawyer into the call, and you're still spewing the same bullshit?
I'm not spewing anything. I'm just saying that I didn't understand that.
Okay.
Based, according to a lawyer.
Hold on. Let me explain real quick. I know I'm interrupting. I can't even help myself. But
please interrupt all you want. You have my permission. You have my blessing. You're doing great.
Well, thanks. Here's the deal, and I think, again, a lot of people just don't understand this, right? So two people can look at a car accident and have completely different views on what happened. So we go into court, and who decides which one's right and wrong? The jury. The jury is the fact finder. So if you're like, well, they don't know anything about facts, or they didn't do this or that, that's not true. They have actually
make a judgment.
told the rest of us what the facts are. That's their job. They're fact finders.
No, they make a determination. That doesn't mean that they have established fact.
No, they do. They establish the facts.
Well, they make a determination on facts. They don't. But it could be the wrong determination, which has happened dozens and dozens of times, right? Like how many times in U.S. history has a jury made a wrong determination on a case, right?
I don't know. They made the correct decision.
But you know that it is like thousands, right? Like it happened. You know as a lawyer that this happens, right?
No, I know that there are appellate processes where you can say you think that the jury was bad, but you don't know.
Where later evidence came out that disproved the determination of a jury. You know that this happens.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen, dude, but you can go look that up.
Yes.
I'm not going to say for 1 minute, though, the E. Jean Carroll case or even the criminal case was done incorrectly, because I watched every single second of all of those cases and read 2,000 different exhibits.
Here, I have another question. So there are cases that get overturned later. I can admit that. I'm not going to deny that, obviously, but I have a question for you. Would you admit that there are cases where the finding is obviously true?
Cases where the finding is obviously true.
Yeah, so obviously true that you'd have to be unreasonable to argue against it. Like, for example, if I walked out in front of my building and I pulled out a firearm and I pointed at somebody and I pulled the trigger and they're no longer with us and there's security footage of me doing it, and I said on this show before I was going to do it, right after recording, I walked out in front and did it, and then people filmed it from 8 different angles, and there was a court case and I went to jail for murder, do you think it would be reasonable for people to say about that particular example, oh, well, the jury could have gotten it wrong, even though the public has seen all the evidence and he very clearly described what he was going to do, and
this happened before AI, right?
Yeah, let's pretend it happened before AI. Let's make this happen 5 years ago. Sure.
Okay, then yeah.
Okay, what we're arguing is that these cases against Trump are that airtight. At least that's what I'm arguing.
Where's the videotape of Trump doing this stuff to E. Jean Carroll?
Well, okay. I think then we're in an area where it's like, dude, you're not on the jury. You don't determine the evidence. The court runs.
I'm not saying that makes that determination of the evidence.
And so what I'm
I'm sorry, Di, but before we move on, I just want you to recognize, caller. I just want you to understand. You do admit that just as you can point out and say there are court cases that are wrong, I'm coming back and saying that there are court cases that are obviously right, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what me and the attorney on the call, what me and Di do, is we look at the facts of the case to make our own determination about which is happening. The more likely thing that the court got it right, or the very unlikely thing that the court got it wrong. I am going to turn your own accusation against me against you and say that the only reason you're doubting these cases is because it's Trump. I don't think we'd be sitting here talking about the details of the case if it was Biden.
Oh, absolutely.
No, because there were accusations, similar accusations against Biden, and I...
Was he found guilty in a court of any of them?
Hold on. I staunchly did not make a determination on Biden, just because there was actually even more evidence in my mind against him in that situation than there was in the
I would also ask here too. I would ask, and I would say we've got a lot of these cases involving the orange fella, where it's been appealed and they've been like, no, it's good. You're good to go. So the fact that it's going through the appellate process also legitimizes what the jury said. So I think that's important. I have to say to you, Septi, listen, dude, if you're the one that wants to make all the decisions for all of the cases in the entire United States, good luck with that. But it's not about you. It's about the legal system, the rules, and the jury, dude.
I'm not saying that I'm trying to make a determination. What I'm saying is that as a voter, there's, hundreds of millions of us. As a voter, I'm not necessarily basing my decision on his capability of leading the country based off of what a jury some jury somewhere decided on this case. I'm
just going to keep pointing out these supervisory things about the call, which is that you spent the entire call with me suggesting that that we're not following the laws, that Trump actually has the authority to do these things. You're using the legal system to defend what he's doing. The moment we have a lawyer here backing up everything that I'm saying, you're suddenly doubting the legal system.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not doubting the legal system any more than I've always doubted.
Yes, you are. You're doubting that Trump is guilty of the crimes that courts have proven he committed. That is doubting the legal system.
No, they determined in that civil case that he committed this crime. Okay.
The three conservative-leaning jurors agreed with the other 6 jurors.
And there were 2 cases too. Don't forget that.
And all the judges that ruled that it is acceptable to call Trump a rapist, because literally, according to what the judges have stated about it, is that it is substantially true that Donald Trump is a rapist, even though New York didn't define non-penile rape as rape at the time. It's like a legal technicality. But in the way that people mean the word rapist when they say it, it's legally acceptable and not liable to call Trump a rapist, according to multiple judges. And people always bring up the counterexample that George Stephanopoulos said that he was found civilly liable of rape, which happens to not be true for the technicality that I just brought up. So that is the only suit that was paid out, because he essentially had a very expensive slip of the tongue. You're sitting here talking yourself into corners, going against your own principles that you used to defend him for the first half of the call. Do you trust the law or not? Do you believe in law and order or not?
Do I believe in law and order?
Yeah.
I believe that we are utilizing a system that has flaws.
Wait, yes or no? Yes or no? Do you believe in law and order as a thing, as a value, as an American value that we should defend?
Oh, as a value, sure, yeah.
Okay, why are you supporting a president that's literally a 34-time convicted felon?
Because again, I don't think that his. If you're talking about specifically the felony convictions, I don't believe
that the 34 felony convictions. That's specifically what I'm talking about.
I don't believe that the legal gymnastics that were undertaken to upcharge those misdemeanors to felonies.
Who of the three people on this call do you think my audience is going to assess? No, I'm not going to hold on. I'm going to ask my question. Who of the 3 people on this call do you think that the audience is going to assess as the least qualified to determine what legal gymnastics are?
Based off of...
I'm asking you how you think the call's going for you. You're calling it legal gymnastics. Me and my new lawyer friend are saying it's not. Who do you think people are going to believe based on this call?
I think that if you had a conservative audience, they'd probably believe me mostly over clearly leftist host and a left-leaning lawyer. Obviously, lawyers don't leave their bias at the door all the time, of course.
I have no bias. I am here for the Constitution, and that is it.
No, I understand you say that, and I understand a lot of lawyers say that, but it doesn't.
Maybe you don't understand what that means, and perhaps that makes it more difficult. But for what it means is that you've lost almost 70% of the Department of Justice attorneys because they have an oath and they've taken it and they refuse to go against it because of this administration. That's not left or right. That's an oath to the Constitution.
Okay, I'm not saying that that's bad. Of course, maintain your oath to the Constitution, and I'm of course, leave your biases at the door if you can. But I'm saying that a lot of lawyers don't leave their biases at the door. Even if your assertion of 70% of lawyers are gone is true, if that's the angle you're going to take on this, I'll just wait. If that's the angle that you're going to take on this, compromised, I don't understand.
Look, if that's the angle you're going to take on this, and you're just going to assert that anybody that disagrees with you is politically biased and not thinking reasonably, answer this directly, because I asked it earlier and you didn't address it. 3 of the jurors on Trump's E. Jean Carroll case were conservatives. Why were they convinced?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what.
I know why, and it's because they saw the evidence, dude.
Maybe they are conservatives who don't have a good mind for analytics.
You're just making up reasons, right? Like, no matter what we tell you, oh, maybe it was this, oh, maybe it was that, maybe they secretly weren't conservatives. Like, really, dude? Do you think you're being intellectually honest?
What I'm saying is that if the evidence was presented before me and other analysts that I know, then we probably would not come to the same conclusion.
I wouldn't pick you for voir dire at all because you're so biased. Who we're looking for when we're looking for a jury is someone who can, they got biases, but they can set them aside and follow the law.
These are the jurors that made it through the strikes. These are people that Trump's lawyers allowed to be on the jury.
Exactly. They approved of them.
I'm not. If the same evidence was presented and Biden was the subject and not Trump, I would have the exact same conclusions based on the evidence. I would not come to the same conclusion that jury came to. It has nothing to do with bias.
You wouldn't be here asking questions if Biden had been involved.
No,
I doubt he even knows the facts of the case.
It doesn't matter the subject. Well, what I'm saying is that the evidence presented in that case do not reach the threshold that I would have, felt comfortable determining that he is.
Do me a favor,
even if it was Biden who was.
Hey, Septic, do me a favor, just briefly. Yeah. Could you describe the evidence in the case, the sorts of things that the jury looked at, other than E. Jean Carroll's testimony? Because there was other evidence that I would like for you to describe to make sure that we are talking, in fact, about a case that you understand.
Patterns of behavior. They brought in testimony. They brought in a lot of stuff.
Don't brush over it. What testimony did they bring in?
I don't have to look back at the case, but
I think maybe you don't know the details of the case at all.
They brought in testimony about behavior.
Let me ask you this question. Was there any physical evidence?
Physical evidence. There was.
There's a very important piece. The dress. Okay, so you do know about the dress. Why didn't Trump supply his DNA?
Not matched to Trump on said dress.
He didn't provide his DNA to match it. He refused. If it would have cleared his name,
the judge refused after he offered.
No, that's not true.
That's made up, dude. That's misinformation. Somebody lied to you. They asked him to supply his DNA, and he refused.
Look it up. His legal team offered a DNA comparison, and
no, that's made up, dude.
No. I have read all 2,000 pieces of all of the exhibits, guy. I don't know. You're freaking weird, man. Something's broken with your brain.
No, dude, you're wrong about that. Is that really what you think happened?
His legal team offered it, and it was denied. It was not admissible in the case. It was denied.
Oh, okay. Wait, the chat's lighting up because they point out when I'm wrong about something. Apparently, he offered after it was too late, just like he offered to release the Epstein files after it was too late, and they were going to be released anyway.
There you go.
But it was too late.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter
it
when.
Would if the DNA doesn't match.
Hey, dude, quiet now. He wanted the DNA stuff, and she asked him for 18 frickin' months to get his DNA, and he refused. So then he knows
give your
full
DNA to some random person who you think is a quack.
For the DNA in court because he knows he can't get it. So I don't think any of that's more important than recognizing he refused to give it to her, and then now is using it as a reason why the trial wasn't fair. I mean, that's some BS, right?
No, you're not going to give your DNA to just someone who asks. I mean,
it's the court asking for it. It's not a stranger on the street corner. Again, you're just making up details that make it feel like you did something right.
Even a court, you're not going to give your DNA to a court just because they're asking on a case.
If I was running for president and somebody said that my DNA was on a dress and that made me culpable for a crime, I would gladly give my DNA as somebody who wants to become a public servant and earn the trust of the American people. I would say that about a person running for president. I might not say that about any random person being accused, but I think it's egregiously suspicious. And we as the American people who get to vote for or against him have to consider the fact that he didn't want to clear his name by providing the DNA, because you are suggesting that it would clear his name if he provided the DNA, and I'm suggesting that the only reasonable explanation for the fact that he didn't supply his DNA is because it wouldn't have cleared his name.
Yes.
Those are facts in the court of public opinion, not in the legal cases we're talking about. He's a fucking politician, dude. He's a public servant. We have to hold him to a higher standard.
I don't think that you can make the case that that the only reasonable reason to not give your DNA to some court, is
I make that argument on this show regularly, and nobody has ever given me a good explanation as to why it is not a good argument. Because you're correct. Now listen for a second. You're correct that the burden of proof is higher in a criminal trial that he didn't get because of an expired statute of limitations. Maybe the court would have been able to subpoena him for his DNA if it was a criminal trial, but he got out of it because of the statute of limitation. I don't personally think there should be a statute of limitations on sex crimes. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
There's a lower burden than that, which is the civil trial where he was found liable for the action. And lower than that still is the court of public opinion. So the fact that he was in what I consider to be a higher burden of proof found to have done something horrible to a woman, I think it is so important for us as members of the court of public opinion to not elect such a person president for the same reason I said earlier. I don't think you'd leave your kids alone with somebody who had a sex crime on the books in the way that Donald Trump does. Thank you for the gifts, everybody.
Absolutely.
Again, I don't think it, like your assertion that it's unreasonable of him to not want to give his DNA to a court. I don't think that's a proper assertion.
Do you think that Donald Trump believes in transparency?
That's a good question.
He says that he does. Then you're disagreeing with him in order to defend him, because you're right. It demonstrates that he doesn't believe in transparency, that he didn't provide his DNA. When he literally says that he's the president of transparency. Explain it. Make it make sense.
Okay, do you believe in transparency?
If you're the president, yes. For personal matters, absolutely.
Do you believe in privacy?
If you're not the president, yes.
Why not for the president?
I literally just explained that 3 minutes ago. I said that if you're running for public office, it is important for you to convince the American people to win over the court of public opinion, and that might involve you sacrificing some of your privacy. That is one of the things that somebody gives up when they choose. Yes, when not all of it. I don't need to see what his anus looks like to know that he's a rapist. That's some of his privacy that I can respect. So don't say that just because there are things about Trump that should remain private doesn't mean that whether or not his DNA was on E. Jean Carroll's dress is one of them. It's ridiculous. And you know it. You're being disingenuous.
No, what I'm saying is that it's reasonable if even if the reason is just he doesn't want to give his DNA to a court. If he finds
nope, everything you're saying is incorrect.
Okay.
Sorry,
okay.
Can't help it.
You're saying it's an unreasonable position to not want to give your DNA.
Well, right, especially when they asked for it at the beginning, so you could have some kind of proof.
He could have just cleared his name. They could have just found that it wasn't his DNA, and then now we have an unknown subject whose DNA is on the dress. We need to go find that person. That could have been the direction it took, but instead I'm sitting here arguing with you about it because he refused. I'm saying that that's a completely unreasonable thing for a person who's running for president to do. If he had an opportunity to clear his name and he didn't. Why didn't he do that?
If I was let me put it on the other shoes, I guess. If I was running for an executive position, whatever, and someone I had never met, don't know anything about him, whatever, and comes to me, makes this accusation and against me, I didn't do it.
I reject your hypothetical because it isn't some stranger on the street corner. It's the courts asking.
Okay,
you're making up circumstances that don't relate to the example that we are talking about, and I'm not going to let you do it. It's disingenuous.
The courts are asking on behalf of a person. It's not just courts coming out of thin air.
No, right? Courts don't ask on behalf of a person, dude. They ask on behalf of the law.
Yeah,
okay, I can't figure out how your brain works.
But when you are met with these accusations, as you are legally obligated to be informed of the accuser, right?
I can't understand what you just said. Listen, he went out into public. Listen up, dude. I'm going to make it real simple. I'm going to make it so simple right now.
Listen to Die.
You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Here it is. So the reason he was in there to begin with was because he had defamation charges. Why? Because he was trash talking her. Now they had to come in. The only way to get rid of defamation is with the truth. And so they had to come in and say, did she actually have this experience? Because if she did, that's not defamation. So it's his own dang fault for going out in there and spitting a bunch of bull around her book. And then now look what he had to do. He had to go to a case in civil court to see if he essayed her, and he did.
Well, I understand, and again, that's why I was putting it in my shoes.
I don't think you
do.
do.
I was in that position. Someone made a book about. If someone made a book about me, I don't even know this person. This never happened. I'm going to trash talk too. I'm going to be like, well,
just to summarize, because I genuinely don't think you listened very carefully. Okay. He was suing her for defamation for things that she said. She said, God damn it, I have to prove now that what I'm saying about you is true. So they went to court and proved it.
Well, they determined it, yes.
Yes, they determined that he raped her. I don't know why you think that's okay. Yeah, I don't know why you're okay with that use. Like, that's still, mental gymnastics, man. I need to get a big pretzel sign to hold up when I have a guest like you.
If there was a DNA match or whatever, I will be more,
Why didn't he supply his DNA so that we could know if the DNA matched or not? You still haven't answered.
Why didn't they allow it? Why didn't they allow it?
You're invoking his privacy as president of the United States?
What?
You're invoking his privacy as president of the United States. It's not a matter of great public interest whether or not the president's DNA is on the rape victim's dress.
No,
you're voting for a person. You voted for a person who doesn't think it's within the. You voted for a person who doesn't think that it is in the interest of the American people to know whether the president's DNA is on a rape victim's dress.
Yeah, and also, where's the privacy in the Constitution, dude? Does he have the right to privacy at all?
Yes, everyone under the Constitution has a right to privacy.
The guy doesn't have a right to drive a car. We take rights away from the president. Not unusual.
So where's the privacy in the Constitution?
Wasn't it the Fourth Amendment?
Well, it says you are free to be not have unreasonable searches and seizures, and also the warrants clause.
That is privacy, right?
No, not specifically. It didn't say anything about privacy.
Well, that is an aspect of privacy.
I already addressed this earlier when I said that if the statute of limitations hadn't elapsed, which was convenient for Trump, then he maybe wouldn't have that right to privacy because they would have been able to subpoena him in the criminal trial for his DNA. So again, you're just defending a rapist who got out of it because of the statute of limitations. Do you think that somebody who escaped litigation about a criminal litigation about a rape that they committed because of a statute of limitations should be president?
Listen, I'm all for...
Answer the question. Did you listen to the question? Should somebody who escaped criminal litigation about a crime that they committed, a sex crime that they committed, because of a statute of limitations expiring, do you think that gets that person off scot-free and they should be allowed to be president?
If it is the case that they're proven to have done it, and proven to have escaped this litigation, then
Well, he was found civilly liable for doing it, but they couldn't prosecute him criminally because of the expired statute of limitations. That suggests to me
that he did it. It was determined by
I'm asking if you should look at a person who has a civil litigation against them for committing a sex crime that they were not found criminally liable for the only reason being that because the statute of limitations had expired. Do you think, yes, that person has my vote as president?
If it was, in fact, if the evidence supported that they in fact did it, then
it does. That's why the jury found him guilty. Okay, then why do you support Trump in light of exactly those facts?
Because I'm saying that the evidence presented doesn't support it, and
I would be
totally fine with them mandating the DNA test right now.
Would be enough for you, Septic. No evidence would, because you would find an excuse.
There is, by the way, audio of Donald Trump himself describing the type of crime he committed against E. Jean Carroll, laughing about how he likes doing that to women with Billy Bush in the Access Hollywood tapes. You can go find that on YouTube. He's literally joking about how he grabs women by the pussy and he doesn't wait. And when I always point to that line, he doesn't wait, because I always have to ask the question, for what? Because legally, there's only one thing that a person needs to wait for before grabbing somebody's genitals. And do you know what that thing is?
I'm sure it's a C word.
Can you say it out loud for the rest of the class, please?
Jeepers.
I mean, I don't think this ad lib isn't
I'm gonna make you do it. What's the one? No, I want to hear you say it. What's the one thing you have to wait for before you grab somebody by the pussy?
A private room in the back where no one can see.
Oh my gosh.
No. You bring up the concern about the public because, yes, it would be illegal to do it on the sidewalk in front of other people because you don't have that C word from the other people who are watching, which is why it would be exhibitionism. And
wait
that's
until
illegal.
We get back to the room.
No. What does he need? What does he need from the owner of the genitals that he's grabbing?
No, I understand that you need consent. What I'm saying is that
he said that he grabs
assertion that's what he means that he doesn't wait for.
What did he mean if he said he doesn't even wait? Because you just said that it's waiting until he gets into
another one. I don't wait to go.
All right, and I'm going to address what you just said specifically, which is that you said that he might need to wait for a private room to do it. In the E. Jean Carroll case, he did actually happen to do that. But once again, even if you're going to argue that he's saying he doesn't need to wait for a private room, that's the thing that he doesn't need to wait for. Then he's exposing himself to the public, and it's illegal for a different reason. You are twisted into the most impressive pretzel I have ever seen on this show. It's making me hungry.
I think you're kind of gross, dude. Your answer wasn't one way or the other. It was like, let's get a room. I mean, he was assaulting her and they were in the dressing room. But for you to come out and be like, hey, hello, misogyny much? And actually, you might even be slipping into SA yourself.
I don't think you understand what I was saying. I was saying,
you said get a room for someone who had been assaulted.
What I was saying was that in his, when he was making the claim about like that he doesn't have to wait, he was saying that Trump meant waiting.
I got no idea what you're saying. Speak properly.
When he said when the
blah
host,
blah 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 blah. That's all I hear. Listen,
okay. I'll try to slow it down for you. I guess I'll try to slow it down.
The raper and the victim go get a room. That's what you said, and that's really gross.
I was addressing. Okay,
it demonstrates the way you think about these types of crimes, dude. No. Like you clearly don't care about women.
What I was addressing was that the host said that when he was quoting Trump, he was asserting that Trump meant that he doesn't have to wait for consent just because he said the word wait.
You said that he needs to wait for a private room, and in the E. Jean Carroll case, he did have a private room.
I said wait could be anything.
Yeah, it could be consent or a private room, and he had one of those two things in the E. Jean Carroll case. Explain yourself.
It could be wait for anything. It could be wait for
it could be wait for a delicious apple pie. You can just make shit
That's what I'm saying. You are making the assertion that he meant consent, and that's your opinion. Okay, that's fine.
Him not waiting for any of the things he needs to grab a woman by the pussy is bad.
I don't think he knows it's bad.
I am sure he doesn't think it's bad. I think he probably does know that it's bad.
My goodness gracious!
If what he meant was consent, then obviously that is wrong and terrible and bad. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be convenient if we had a court case where they decided on this matter and we could judge whether or not he had consent? That'd be so convenient for this argument. My goodness.
Be a good one. Yep.
All right, I know the horse is dead, but I'm going to keep beating. Let's talk about the fact that Donald Trump lied repeatedly in the courtroom. He said that he'd never met her, so E. Jean Carroll provided a photograph of them standing together. He said that she wasn't his type, and in that same courtroom, he accidentally mistook a photograph of his own ex-wife as a photograph of E. Jean Carroll, which suggests to me that maybe she's his type because he married a woman who he physically mistook for her. Explain those things to us with all of your brilliance.
Yeah, I don't think those were, good things for him to say. I don't know. Yeah.
I know you don't know. That's all you got? That's all you got? I don't know. I think that's bad. You came up here calling E. Jean Carroll a liar when Trump lied demonstrably in the courtroom.
As a quick side note, too, just to add this in while you're thinking about how to answer properly, weird little dude. But here's the other bit. Jack Smith, right, for the espionage case and the DC case, he was actually going forward to try to use the modus operandi but to show he does these kinds of things every single time. And he was actually going for that. I thought that was really interesting that he was going to go up and say, this is how he treats women, this is how he treats people, and then that's why the modus operandi would click into place. But alas, there was the election. There you go.
Trump was going to use modus operandi as a defense?
No, Jack Smith was going to show modus operandi as the fact that he's a repeat offender.
Okay. I was about to say that'd be a weird defense.
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to figure out if you're real or not, but your brain's not quite with us here, so.
Yeah, we've actually gotten you to a place where, we've talked you into such a deep, dark corner that you're not even making arguments anymore. You're just mumbling and saying, I don't know.
That's it. Oh, my goodness. That's right.
We're wherever I was going, I think we're there. This is a very delicious, uncomfortable place we found ourselves in.
Okay,
I'm sorry I didn't ask for your consent, but you actually did give it to me when you agreed to the terms of service on TikTok for TikTok Live and joined the show, because I am allowed to do this to you. You can hang up if you're afraid.
And also what you're wearing.
What? Who's wearing? What are you talking about? What?
I don't actually get what you just said. I missed it, Doug. What are you talking about?
Isn't that why we essay is because of what they're wearing?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Having a drink, right?
Yeah. Okay, that's total tangent. No, I don't agree with that. I don't think.
Hey, I'll forgive you on that one, guest. It went over my head too, but I don't think it went over anybody's head that you're in a very deep, dark corner and you've got nothing to say for yourself about it.
The chat got it.
I don't like. Again, I don't think that the burden. Listen, I tried to say earlier that I would be happy to have a court subpoena Trump right now for his DNA, and if it matches the dress, then fine. Then in that situation, fine. I'll rescind my support. But the fact that the court at the time of when he offered his DNA to compare in this trial, and they rejected it, regardless of the timeline, is very suspicious to me. And I don't think that the conclusion had enough evidence to support for me to say that it for sure happened.
But when I point out that he very obviously, when I point out that he very obviously lied in the courtroom multiple times, you just said I don't know and moved on. Why isn't that important? Why isn't that suspicious? Why doesn't that have your attention?
What you said, he lied in court multiple times. Okay, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe
he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. I think he's a pretty good guy. I'm going to keep voting for him anyway, even if it's for a third term.
Your basis for that was that he said that she wasn't his type, and then he confused her for his wife. And I get that, but he's an old addled brain. He's an old addled brain guy.
Do you think that an old addled brain? Interjection. Hold on. I have a question for the whole class. Do you think that somebody who is so addled that they can't handle these sorts of conversations should be running the country?
No, I don't.
You just said that Trump is addled in that way, so I am to conclude that you then don't think that Trump should be running the country?
No, personally, I'm Yang Gang. I would have rather have Yang as president.
Oh my good Lord.
You've been defending Trump for the entire call. I made sure at the beginning of the call that you wanted him to stay president, and you just confessed that you think his brain is too old and addled for him to be able to handle a court case, but he's okay running the country?
If you go back to the beginning, my entire premise was that I don't specifically support Trump, but I support him more than our alternative candidate.
Sounds like you think, by your own reasoning, it's not the impeachment that we need, it's the 25th Amendment. It sounds like he's too old and addled to be responsible enough to run a country, much less the United States.
I would be more in support of the 25th Amendment than I would of impeachment, because I don't think he's actually violated.
What a small little admission you just made. But you think that somebody who's not responsible for telling the truth in a courtroom should be president? You're like only a little bit in favor of the 25th? It's nonsense, dude. Pretzel.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I was wondering where Jesus is, because I need him to take the wheel, because you're kind of a little different down there, dude.
Why are you talking about my down there?
You're in the little gray box down in the side. Right. No,
you mentioned my down there. Therefore, you were talking about my private parts.
That's all you've got, dude. Come on, be real.
You don't have to show your misogyny to me, dude.
She's talking about down over here on the screen in the corner where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So words can mean different things. Okay, there you go. Great interpretation.
We should have a civil case that proves that she meant that, so that you can disagree with the outcome of it.
The word wait in a sentence could mean different things. Okay, got it.
I don't think we were disputing the word wait. I think we were. I think we were disputing the reason why he had to wait.
I can agree with that.
Based on your interpretation of what he meant by wait. I was just making a call back to that.
How are we to interpret the fact that you don't think that the president's mind is functional for a court case? You said that he was old and addled. How am I to interpret that in such a way that doesn't suggest to me that you think he shouldn't be running the country? I think running the country is harder than facing a civil lawsuit.
You didn't let me finish what I was saying. I was saying that in his old brain, he probably looked at old E. Jean Carroll and was like, she's gross, not my type. And that's what he has no ability to think back in time that maybe at a different time she was prettier. I don't know.
My good Lord.
You think that a person whose brain does not work in the way that you just described is somebody who should be running the country? You just made my argument worse.
No, that's never been my assertion.
My
Why are
gosh,
you on my
it's not
show
just-
then?
I
It's
think
not
the
just
25th
pretty
should
girls.
have been invoked against Biden.
It's not just pretty girls that get SA'd, you dumb butt. No, I didn't
also
wanna
that.
say
I
bad
didn't
words.
say that. That's not what
You did. You just said maybe
no.
she'll be prettier
What
in his
Trump
memory.
said in the trial was that she's not his type. He said that, not me.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with me.
Well, you just said maybe she was prettier when she was younger.
Yes, and
Do you
if he had
listen
the,
to
if he
yourself?
had
I'm
the,
not
if
sure.
he had the imagination to
Then mute
think
for a
about
minute, look for
de-aging
Jesus.
someone, if he had the ability, the mental acuity to be able to think back in time and deconstruct how someone looks now versus how they might have looked, then he might have been able to come to the conclusion that she was in fact his type. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with my, like, why are you making that weird assertion that this has to do with me?
We're talking about the things that you are saying, buddy.
Yes, I was talking about what Trump said. It has nothing to do with that has nothing to do with, like, her. What she just said was, "Oh, not only pretty people get essayed." That's not what I said. Has nothing to do with what I said. It's why did you make that weird connection? You're
actually further exposing yourself by doing a bad job of characterizing exactly what Di just said about you. You're filling the gaps yourself for us. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I don't even have
That's
to say
what she
anything.
said. She said, "Not only pretty people get essayed," which is not what I said. It's a total offshoot mischaracterization of something that I never even said. So I don't understand, as an attorney, how your brain would make that leap and say that thing to me.
I get it. I think the audience gets it. I don't think I need to say anything more about that.
I love your chat. Your chat's amazing in here.
You know, one of the fun things about being on the left is that one of the nice things about being on the right side of history is that the people who support me aren't a bunch of like mindless brainwashed zombies that like using the R word an awful lot. Like whenever I look at the comment section of somebody on the right who does this, I'm always like, oh my God, are you proud of this being your following? Like, ugh, like it was so horrible. So yeah, I love the chat. I love all you people. Thank W all of you guys. W self. W chat.
W the chat.
W everyone.
Wonderful questions, great arguments. I love it.
Fucking rescuing me when I say something wrong so that I can correct myself quickly and I don't have to put it in the description later when I put the VOD on YouTube. Like, everybody's crushing it on this show. It's incredible. The fact that I, like, materialized a lawyer out of nowhere. It's not even one of my regular lawyers. Like, Di just appeared. She has 100,000 more followers than me. She just appeared and took control of the show and completely crushed you because you said that I wasn't a lawyer, and that's the reason you didn't believe me. So we literally just had a lawyer materialize out of thin air, have the entire conversation again from front to back, and you still don't believe the things that you're hearing, even though now we have a lawyer. It's hilarious. I love running this show. It's great.
The lawyer said that it wasn't a clear impeachable offense, and that's what my position was.
Is that what you took away from this conversation? Incredible. I love this show.
That was the reason for bringing on the lawyer in the first place. Was I was saying that, you know, just because you think he should be impeached based off of these things, there's not actually a legal basis for this. And the lawyer came on and she affirmed that no, yes, it is a spurious position. There's no clear legal framework for impeaching him based off of these actions.
Wait. What I say?
Yeah. I was gonna say let's assess how fair a characterization of this conversation that is. Let's hear what you've got on that. The nervous laughter makes me so happy.
I thought you were asking the attorney.
I was asking you. Keep explaining yourself, dude. I don't need to work that hard to keep you talking. This is going great.
Okay. Again, I don't know what I would say other than repeating what I just said, which was that the lawyer came on and said that impeaching Trump based off of these interactions with these lower court judges and the ultimate outcomes.
You doubted whether or not Trump violating the court orders was contempt of court, and you said that I wasn't a lawyer. We have a lawyer here who agrees with me that him violating the court the court orders is contempt of court, and she pointed out that it is up to Congress to interpret whether that is enough of a high crime and misdemeanor to impeach the president. And I would argue that the Republicans would have voted differently if it was a Democrat committing contempt of court in their presidential actions, and I think that's obvious.
I mean,
absolutely. And if we go back even to Bill Clinton, his whole piece was because they said he lied to the grand jury. So just during this innocent testimony of the grand jury, they're like, oh my gosh, that's the end of the world, blah, 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 blah. So just this little tiny thing for Clinton, but again and again.
I don't agree with that impeachment either.
We have an insurrection that apparently is not enough to get you pulled. So I'm not sure what would be.
Well, he never rose to the legal. You're the attorney, right?
They went to prison for it, and
he never rose
they went to prison for it, and he pardoned them for it.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
That's pretty awful.
They did go to prison. Of course,
you might have an argument for saying that Trump didn't support the insurrection if he hadn't pardoned the people who did it.
I didn't say. See, you're putting words in my. I didn't say support the insurrection. What I said was that he never. If you didn't interrupt, I was going to say that he never met the legal standard for inciting insurrection.
The Brandenburg test? No, he met it.
Yeah, he also pardoned these people and then gave them jobs as law enforcement officers because it has been leaked that many people who now work for Immigration and Customs Enforcement are the people that he pardoned for doing the insurrection on January 6th. So he took criminally prosecuted, convicted, incarcerated insurrectionists, and he made them law enforcement officers. You got 60 seconds to defend that because the show is nearing an end.
I don't necessarily agree with that decision. I don't think I would do that necessarily. Yeah.
Historically, that's probably one of the single worst things ever done.
I would disagree with Trump's decision to do that, but I don't agree with that he incited an insurrection. I don't think that he ever met a legal standard for, and he obviously was never convicted of inciting.
You're going to use you used your 60 seconds to say the same thing that you said before I gave you that previous prompt. So I'm going to consider that a waste of time, and I'm going to give you 30 more seconds to say whatever the hell you want on my show before I kick you, because the show is nearing an end. Go.
Yeah, no, I disagree. I disagree with Trump doing that. I mean, if that's what he did, again, I'm taking your word for it. I disagree with a lot of things that Trump has done. Ideally, Yang would be president right now, but our party system is pretty screwed. Yeah, and I, it's okay to agree with actions that Trump's done. He's done good things, and it's okay to disagree with things that he's done because he hasn't done everything great. That's how life works.
His 30 seconds have elapsed, and I have kicked him. That might be the most spineless guest I've ever had on this show. Thank you so much for coming up, Di. I really appreciate you.
Oh, I'm happy to help. Happy to be here. This is my first time over here in your area, but there were several
Welcome to the
team.
We have fun over here.
Like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah,
I appreciate you having me. I myself should probably jump down as well, so you can close up. But
I'll let you give yourself a commercial before I kick you. Say what you want to say before I hit the button.
Oh, okay. Well, I think one of the most important things, everybody, all right, first of all, in the chat, I recommend reading that full 13th Amendment and looking for that loophole for slavery at the very end of it. So slavery is actually allowed in the United States, but only for a criminal convicted person. Okay, number one. So that answers about 4 people's questions. And then the other one is come on over to my channel, pop over anytime you want. I do like to read through the documents that are being put out. That's one of my favorite things to do, and explain the law. So come on over. You're such a smart chap too. So anytime you want. And again, just thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you so much. All right. Kicking for the algorithm. Thanks so much, Di. Everybody go follow Attorney Di. I'll give myself the commercial. If you enjoy the show, if you like people getting... I mean, I almost feel bad about what we just did to that guest for an hour. It was I think that guy was too proud to hang up the phone because he's probably one of those callers that considers that an automatic L, so he just stuck around for it. But we really beat that dead horse. If you like seeing that, you can go to my link tree in my bio and follow me on the other platforms. The show gets posted every single day to YouTube, so you can go find the old episodes and all that stuff. Instagram is my main platform where I post all the stuff and more videos of me playing guitar and stuff because I am a musician. That is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And if you want to support the show financially, there's ways to do that in the link tree in the bio as well. well, and I'm trying to quit my job to do this full time, so that would be awesome. Furthermore, I do the show every single day, 10 to 12 Central Standard Time here on TikTok Live. If you want to participate, I'm trying to do it every single day. A few days in June, I'm not going to be able to because of my job, but I am quitting that job to run this show, so keep the donations coming. Thanks, everybody. Seriously, thanks, everybody. W in the chat for the mods, the fact that like they are like handling stuff in the background to keep the show going, the fact that there are lawyers who come up and help me. It's just like absolutely incredible that I don't have to do this myself, because I do not have the expertise to always be the right host. So sometimes a lawyer hops up, and that's just absolutely incredible. I'm very excited about how this is going for me. I'm so happy so many people believe in me, and it's everybody here double tapping on the screen and commenting and engaging and all that keeps the callers coming and keeps the show going. So I just have to say thanks to everybody for being here and watching. I will see you guys in roughly 22 hours. We'll talk tomorrow morning.